What if I told you there's a secret code hidden in every masterpiece you've ever loved? Not a style, not a technique, something deeper. Well, I discovered it after studying hundreds of iconic works of art, paintings, films, songs, all that became immortal across centuries, across cultures, and across movements. My notes revealed a pattern, and this pattern is why some art fades while others haunt us forever. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal this framework that separates forgettable art from the unforgettable. Because once you see it, you'll never create the same way again. Now listen, all art does not need to be iconic. Every painting or song you make doesn't have to echo through generations. But if you're creating something you want to live inside other people, to stay with them long after you're gone, you need to know this framework. So let's jump into it. So the pattern I found is simple. It's this. Every iconic piece of art is a mirror, a map, and a message. A mirror, a map, and a message. Now, I guarantee you can take that and run with it and get tons of value. But if you want to deeply understand this concept, I'd love to break it down for you and even show you ways that I applied it to my craft, along with ways that you can level up with it too. All right, let's start with mirror, but fair warning, this one might sting a little bit. So we're going to start with mirror because it's actually more than meets the eye. When you create, you think that people are looking at your art, but no, they're looking at you. And here's the key factor that completely threw me off as I studied iconic art. The greatest artists don't just express themselves, they expose themselves. Their art is less of a performance and more like a confession. When Basquiat painted Untitled 1982, he let us into parts of him that were too chaotic, too painful, and too contradictory to even explain. Or even when I looked into Adele's biggest hit ever, Someone Like You, billions of streams, it touched on grief and regret and her aching of moving on from a true love. These artists let the world in. I applied this when I proposed to my wife. I didn't just ask her a question. I built a mirror. I spent a year creating a top secret art show, painting 10 massive paintings inspired by our love story. Each one reflected my truth, fears, sacred memories, my hopes and dreams. Actually, these are 2 of the 10 paintings standing right behind me right now. Man, love is one of the most raw emotions. And that day, my love for her was on full display. If you want to see for yourself, there's actually a video of the proposal on my channel, and I can link it in the description below. As an artist, the parts that you are scared to show are the parts that the world needs the most. That's when the world sees your soul. And I know, like, that level of vulnerability is scary. This is making my heart beat fast just thinking about it. Because look, if you want to create art that lives inside other people, you really have to genuinely ask yourself, what truth am I hiding that my art is begging to reflect? Write it down and build a mirror around that. All right, now here's where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about the map. Iconic art doesn't just tell a story. It builds a world that the audience can enter. When they enter that portal, it also guides them. It shows them how to feel, how to heal, how to imagine this new world. It moves people from one inner state to another, and along the way, it reshapes their own inner landscape. Picasso's Guernica was a map through the horror of war, rewiring how people felt about violence. Edward Hopper's Nighthawks was a map through the landscape of isolation, rewiring how people felt about loneliness. And if you listen closely to Maya Angelou's Still I Rise, it's a step-by-step emotional ascent from oppression building up to dignity and resilience. These artists carried you somewhere with their art, And when I created the art show to propose to my wife, it wasn't just about paintings. I built an experience. Each painting was connected. It told our love story in reverse, allowing us to go back in time, step by step, back to the moment that I fell in love with her. Art that lasts in the hearts and the minds of people don't just show you something, it takes you somewhere. So the next time you create, ask yourself, where am I taking the person who's experiencing this? Not just physically, emotionally, spiritually, existentially. Instead of randomly hoping that your art moves people, deliberately design the emotional ride. Oh, okay, real quick. If you'd like all my notes on creativity, all my insights from over the years, just tap the link in my bio and tell me where to send them. All right, so now that you've built the mirror and you've mapped out the journey, what's the real gift that you're leaving behind? Well, every iconic piece of art plants a message, but it's not just about saying something. It's about planting a belief deep inside someone's mind, a seed that grows quietly without permission. It challenges, it comforts, it confronts. Art that checks this box always leaves you with something, like an idea or a feeling, a question that lingers longer after the piece ends. When you create art this way, you are planting seeds of belief in people who may never even meet you. And that's powerful. It's a real responsibility. Like, seriously, you can literally hijack someone's assumptions about society and replace them with new questions. The most poetic explanation that I noted of this was from Bob Dylan when he said, "A song is anything that can walk by itself." Whew, that's just so beautifully put. Like, if your art can walk by itself, it has a sense of self-sufficiency and timelessness because it can resonate independently from you. When I created the art show to propose to my wife, I didn't just want her to hear, "Will you marry me?" I wanted her to feel the deeper message that our love was an unfolding work of art, and I want to spend my life creating it with her. That message wasn't just spoken, it was felt. So ask yourself, what seed of belief am I planting into the person who's experiencing this? Distill it down to one powerful sentence that makes sure that every creative choice you make waters that seed. If you ever wonder how to create something unforgettable, come back to these three questions. What truth will I reflect? What journey will I guide them through? What belief will I plant? Because the mirror will ground your art in truth, the map will guide it with purpose, and the message will make it eternal.